Bah humbug, complained Scrooge. Fools wishing me a Merry Christmas should be forced to sit on cushions, stuffed with full leaves or boiled with their own Christmas puddings.
Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone. Scrooge, a squeezing, retching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner.
Hard and sharp as flint, for which no steel had ever struck out generous fire, secret and self-contained, and solitary as an oyster.
The cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shriveled his cheeks, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red, his thin lips blue, and spoke out shrewdly in his grating voice. A frosty rime was on his head and on his eyebrows and his wiry chin.
He carried his own low temperature always about with him. He iced his office in the dog days and didn't thaw 1 degree at Christmas.
Bob Cratchit was the office clerk at Scrooge's debt collecting business. Scrooge treated him terribly. The day before Christmas, Cratchit said to Scrooge, "Please, sir, may I spend Christmas Day with my family?"
Scrooge replied, "Oh, go on then. Go and join the other fools out there." Bah humbug!
Later that evening, Scrooge closed up his London shop, complaining bitterly about the festivities surrounding him. After arriving home, Scrooge reached into his pocket and was stunned to see his door knocker change into the face of his dead business partner, Jacob Marley.
Humbug, shouted Scrooge, ignoring the ghost and pushing his way through the door. As he got ready for bed, the ghost appeared once more. I don't believe you're real. There's more gravy than grave about you.
Marley warned Scrooge that 3 spirits visited him that night, but Scrooge remained stubborn, humbug, and then quickly fell to sleep.
Scrooge was awakened by his clock striking 1, and the spirit in the form of a small young boy but with thinning grey hair announcing, "I am the ghost of Christmas past."
The ghoul escorted Scrooge through his childhood, storming his old school, his family home, and his first workplace. Finally, the spirit showed him a pretty young lady, handing a ring back to the solemn face of young Scrooge. "Oh, please, please, let this torment end!"
Scrooge was awakened by his clock striking 1 for the 2nd time that evening. A jolly giant ghost wearing a magnificent green robe entered the room. "I am the ghost of Christmas present," the glorious voice rang out.
On a journey through London, the jolly giant took Scrooge to the window of Bob Cratchit's house. Scrooge watched as the family sang songs, ate heartily, and played together around the tree.
Scrooge noticed that Cratchit's son, known as Tiny Tim, was pale and frail, his weak legs supported by iron frames. Scrooge asked the spirit, "Tell me, will Tiny Tim live?"
The spirit replied,
I see a vacant seat at next year's table.
"If these shadows remain unaltered by the future,
He will surely die."
Scrooge was awakened by the clock striking 1 for the final time that evening. "Are you the ghost of Christmas future?" Scrooge asked a hooded figure covered entirely in black which floated menacingly towards him. The spirits remained deathly silent.
Returning to the Cratchit house, Scrooge couldn't help but notice the vacant seat in the corner. "We will never forget Tiny Tim," he heard Bob wail. "Please, take me away from all of this," begged Scrooge.
The spirit led him to a churchyard and pointed to a newly engraved headstone. Scrooge saw the name.
Scrooge collapsed on the floor and cried, "Please, say these things can be changed."
I wanted Christmas with all my heart and try to keep it straight every day of the year.
The next day, Christmas Day, Scrooge awoke to the clock striking 7. He rushed through London town shouting, "I'm as light as a feather, as wobbly as a jelly, as silly as a sausage, and as happy as a lark."
he spent the rest of Christmas Day visiting friends, helping the poor, and spreading the joy of Christmas.
His final stop was the Cratchit,
where
he gave his office clerk a pay rise and a giant turkey. Tiny Tim, alive and well, shouted,
Merry Christmas!